It's Sam. There is a crypto that just went to zero. There is some news about Mt. Gox. And there's also some other big news in the market. I want to cover it here for you pretty quickly. Getting ready to go to a wedding here very soon in the next few hours. So want to make sure that we blow through the news. Keep it short for you. If you don't mind, hit subscribe. Turn that bell notification underneath the video so you can see future videos just like this one. And let's look at the market. As you can see, market is pretty much unchanged today in terms of crypto. Obviously, yesterday we had a big down day for stocks. Now they're making a bit of a recovery. NASDAQ, last time I looked, was up about 1%. Now, there's some big news about a cryptocurrency that went down to zero, LUSD. Now, to be clear, this is not a very popular crypto. The volume is pretty low. I mean, we're talking about thousands a day. This is back when it was at 94 cents, 92 cents. It had been pretty much trading below peg, but it was a stable coin. A lot of people think stable coins are pretty stable. Even here, it was going back and forth between $1 and 90 cents. And then all of a sudden, boom, down 99.999%. Trading volume around 1 million, spiked in volume. Now, this isn't a super important crypto, but it reminds us, be careful with stable coins. We don't know what's going to happen. We want to stick with the safest stable coins. USDT, USDC, those are probably the two best. And anything that's algorithmic or anything like that is not safe. They say here the linear finance protocol was subject to an attack that resulted in the draining of all LUSD liquidity on both PancakeSwap and Ascendex, resulting in the price going to zero. The attacker was able to mint an unlimited supply of Aave and subsequently traded the liquid asset to LUSD on the linear exchange prior to selling it on PancakeSwap and Ascendex. Doesn't sound like they were too apologetic about this. Pretty just a statement of the fact here, but maybe they did not cover what was completely in the blog post here. Now, just a good reminder, think long term. Does this really help you get to your finance goals if you go and stake it or provide liquidity for 10 or 20%? I don't know if it's really worth it at this point in the market. I think you always have to be careful with some of these smaller stablecoins. So just keep that on your mind. Now, we have some news from the UAW today. Now, I'll cover this and then I have a little bit more crypto that could be pretty important. Here's the official announcement from the UAW president at noon Eastern time. All of the parts distribution facilities at GM and Stellantis are going to be called to stand up and strike. Now, what's this mean? Well, they have about 38 facilities that they are striking now. So, obviously, a big step up from the 3 that they had the other day. And part of the reason they might be pissed off is because they barely made any returns. This is kind of a crazy fact. Here's how an employee's stock at Tesla, Ford, and GM has performed over the last 10 years. Tesla, about 1,900% return, about 20x. GM, negative 10%. Ford, negative 28%. So if you had been given employee stock 10 years ago, if you were given, let's say, $10,000, you'd have about $7,200 now, which is crazy. That's why you really need a company that has good fundamentals behind it, that they are trying to reward shareholders if you're investing in it, because a lot of companies are just trying to get to the next year profitability and then big bonuses. They go dilute. Half the time they have to dilute and raise more capital. Now, I don't think Ford and GM do that. I think they take on more debt, but that's costly. You need companies that continue to expand, continue to grow revenue, profit margins, are in an industry that's growing, have some kind of moat, and also make sure that they, again, have good fundamentals. They can reinvest in their business and make good amounts of money from what they reinvest, return on capital employed. And these companies are having a hard time with that. Tesla has been able to grow quickly, been able to become a market leader, been able to grow into other segments too, or at least they're focusing on growing into other segments, other industries that could give a nice return here on out, another S-curve. So don't just buy companies because you think that they have a low PE ratio, because Ford and GM have had a low PE ratio for a long time, and yet they're still down. Last thing I want to cover, infamously hacked crypto exchange Mt. Gox delays repayment deadline by a year. So many people get worried about this, get worried about Mt. Gox Bitcoin, hundreds of thousands of Bitcoin being given over to people, having them dump on the market. But keep in mind, they have now had to wait nearly 10 years. It seems like they continue to wait longer and longer, and there's obviously they are waiting longer and longer. There's news all the time about how there's a deadline and that gets pushed back. Now, why it's being pushed back? That's a good question. I'm not sure exactly, because honestly, if they have it, I'm surprised they're not giving it away. Right? Why aren't they trying to give out the Bitcoin? Maybe there's something sketchy there. Maybe it's just something legal. I'm not exactly sure. But they said due to the sheer size of the tokens being released, this would not destabilize the market, but repayment could have some impact on Bitcoin prices. So it's not like it's going to tailspin. Bitcoin's going down to zero if everyone gets their Bitcoin, but obviously it could cause some selling pressure, and the market sells off when people think that we are going to get those Mt. Gox Bitcoin. So don't be scared. Keep on thinking long term. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.